Barb, as we get going into some talking turkey here, financial analysts say this persistent inflation, it appears to be cooling off a bit, and the possibility of living a long time in retirement are two of the big factors considered for people retiring this year. How do you talk to people about those challenges, the persistent inflation and our life expectancy?
Well, Ralph, part of planning for retirement is to make sure that you plan for a 20 to 30-year retirement. And we use our proprietary financial endurance plan, and it's personalized for each of our clients. And it's to make sure that they can endure the many possible years of retirement. And since the statistics are showing that we are living longer, that means our money needs to last longer. And it also means that we need to account for inflation, higher taxes, health and long-term care costs, market volatility, because we're living longer and we have, more time for all of those things to affect us. And remember, the goal is to make sure that you don't run out of money before you run out of life. So that's our objective when we're working with our clients.
Talk to me also, Barb, about the challenges of having to spend more time now as the costs keep going up, but also trying to save enough money to stay ahead of that inflation rate in retirement.
And that's certainly the challenge that we're having right now. Our wages are not keeping up with the cost of living, and then trying to save for retirement on top of all of that, it's not happening like a lot of folks would like to see. People are not putting as much into their 401ks and their IRAs because they're needing more to stay in their pocket for their monthly expenses. And I'm really finding that more and more people are putting food, gas, and a lot of the extras on their credit card to try to buy a little more wiggle room each month. So, and then the big problem with that is the cards are not getting paid off each month. So If you're only making the minimum payments, they're just never going to get paid off. And that's a downward spiral that we want to avoid if at all possible. So yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge right now, but I think let's keep this in balance and under control. Let's look at what our options are to hopefully prevent some of this stuff from happening or affecting you.
Yeah. Probably a lot of couples, they're borrowing money on their home equity to pay off their credit cards. Instead of a 28, you may have an 8% rate to pay on your loan. And have you found, Barb, that people around Colorado, are they seeing their credit card interest rates go down? Have you heard any feedback from your clients about that, whether it's a little easier to pay off the plastic?
So far, what I have been hearing is that the interest rates on the credit cards are still up there quite high. And I do have folks that have talked about, should they take a line of credit and those kind of things. And we have to be careful with that because it's either prime or LIBOR plus something, and those interest rates can change. And a lot of times, now we're drawing down or taking equity out of our home, and we are creating another payment. So the idea is let's see if we can't balance things and live within our means each and every month.
Always a great idea if you have lots of money or not a lot of money, and don't spend more than you have. Well, what's your advice, Barb, about finding that appropriate balance between the growth and preservation of their money in retirement?
It certainly starts with a conversation, and then we start running the numbers. And I find that most people are just taking on too much risk with their investments because they're shooting for maximum growth. They think, I need to make more. So they put themselves in a very vulnerable position. And, you expect that to take a little more risk during your working years. But as you get closer to retirement, or even when you are in retirement, your focus should change from growth and the risk that comes with growth to now protecting your investments, because you're going to be needing to use these accounts, and we need it to be there for the many years of retirement. We also talk about the three worlds of money, and this is where we identify where their money currently is invested and make sure that they have balance and that they have that emergency fund and they have income and they have growth, rather than all of their assets just in growth type accounts.
I'm interested to know, what are those three worlds of money, Barb, when you discuss with clients? Can you discuss that with us a little bit?
Sure. It's a good visualization tool that we use, and some people use buckets or different things, but with the three worlds of money, we want to make sure that we have a good emergency fund. This is money that we can get to. It's not at risk. Usually this is at the bank, something like that, where it's a good 6 to 12 months of your expenses. So I want to always make sure that that's well funded. The next area has to do with income. So if we don't have enough income coming in, we may need to create or use our money to supplement the difference. And so we use things in that bucket to create income. And then that third bucket has to do with growth. And we can take more risk if we have the first two worlds that are taken care of. But what I see is as folks are transitioning from their working years to their retirement years, we've had all of our money in the growth world. And now we need to make sure that we have the balance with the world for income and for growth, as well as for your safety.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that, Barb. Well, what is your world of money, folks? If you'd like to chat with Barb just face-to-face, that number's 800-883-1518 in Colorado, 800-883-1518. Barb, people may be noticing at the start of the year, there's Social Security direct deposit that went up a few $100s. That's good. The latest reports, though, indicate the Social Security Trust Fund may actually fall short this year if Congress doesn't do anything, and that may be a sure bet, but we'll not get into that right now. But one of the options being considered is raising that full retirement age. We've heard it in the political discussions, in the debates. And what's your reaction to the trust fund maybe falling short of the mark? Do we need to raise that full retirement age to 70 or higher?
They've been talking about it for quite some time of what they're going to do. And certainly raising the age for full retirement age would be the easiest. We've already seen them do it because originally it was at 65 and then it went to 66 and then so many months and then it went to 67. So moving it to 70, I think is something that is certainly on the table. And I guess we'll have to watch and see, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if that ends up being one of the first things that they do. Something's going to have to be done. This being an election year, everyone's walking on eggshells because they want to make sure that the right message is being sent out. But Social Security is a big issue and it affects many, many people. So it's not something that we should be just pushing the can down the road. We need to identify we've got a problem and let's fix it.
Right. Well, there's a lot up in the air right now as this election cycle. We're really getting into the meat of the matter. The process is starting to happen now. And how do you talk to people around Colorado who are worried about all this uncertainty? I'm curious if people go, oh, politics, put it off to the side. But I think they really are watching and they really are listening. And are they unsure about what may happen?
I think that they are very, very concerned and rightfully so. And, we want to make sure that, we're prepared. And I guess that's the biggest message that we convey to our clients. We cannot know all the things that can affect us, but we can have a good idea. I mean, we know that we have to deal with taxes. We know about inflation. What about health and long-term care costs? What if you're married, one of you pass away before the other? There's a lot of things that can affect us that we can plan for and have enough wiggle room to really take care of the other unexpected things. So being prepared, having that financial endurance plan in place, having something that you can refer back to as a roadmap, and then having regular conversations with me allows them to really not have as much concern as those that are unprepared and that just see everything as like, oh my gosh, this is hitting me and this is hitting me and what do I do here and what do I do there? So I really feel like having that plan in place and then having our regular visits so that we talk about their concerns, make sure that they stay on track. We have prepared for the unexpected, and that does give folks a lot of peace of mind.
Then, Barb, on your calendar, looming ahead less than 2 years from now, are those January 1, 2026 tax law changes, if they do change things. And I really would love to get your thoughts on what we could be doing right now to prepare for that. Any special 2024 strategies you'd like to suggest about the 2026 changes?
Yeah. And I mean, definitely we know the changes are coming. So to be able to prepare for that now, and hopefully we've been doing that even for the last 2 or 3 years, but let's make 2024 and 2025 good years for knowing that what's coming, and what we're going to be doing. So can we start using accounts that are not going to be all taxable, such as Roths? Yes, we could. Could we look at maybe doing a Roth conversion? We could. And whether that's appropriate for you or not, we won't know until we run the numbers. Looking at using the tax code 7702 to create tax-free money. There are lots of things that we can do. We have to find out what's appropriate for you. And that comes from creating that financial endurance plan for you personally. So yes, there are options and we need to get started on it today.